Each year, many children from around the world are removed from their homes because they were abused, neglected, and maltreated. The primary reasons why children are being taken away from their homes, according to the United States, is because of neglect, physical abuse, sexual abuse, psychological maltreatment, abandonment, threats of harm, and drug addiction. Children who are in out-of-home placements are typically displaying more educational, behavioral, physical, and psychological problems compared to their peers, though it is unclear whether this trauma was caused due to displacement or maltreatment that precipitated it. For the children who are removed from their home, a child welfare professional is responsible for placing them into an in-out-of-home setting. The primary placements available are traditional foster care, kinship care, institutional care, and group homes. According to this article by Winokur et al., kinship care is broadly defined as the full-time nurturing and protection of children who must be separated from their parents by relatives, members of their tribes or clans, godparents, step-parents, or other adults who have a kinship bond with the child. This is a lot more different compared to being in foster care because typically a child will most likely be with a family with whom they do not know. There are also several variations of kinship care, which includes formal, informal, and private placements. A benefit that this includes that kinship care, again, according to the article, enables children to live with persons whom they know and trust, reduces the trauma children may experience when they are placed with persons who are initially known to them, and reinforces children's sense of identity and self-esteem which flows from their family history and culture. Children who are placed in kinship care will most likely be comfortable with who they have been around with, while the caregiver is most likely to be more comfortable and have a better understanding of how to care for the child. Another benefit for kinship care is that it is one of the restrictive and most safest settings for children who are placed in out-of-home placements. The formal kinship care is relatively a newer placement for countries including the United States and Australia. This is due to its adoption by the child welfare field as a placement of choice. The Personal Responsibility and Work Opportunity Reconciliation Act of 1996 had always preferred and required the United States to give preference to family members first when deciding on where to place children when needed. Just like anything else in this world, as well as similar to other child welfare interventions, kinship care does have its fair share of controversial issues. The key issues include the unequal financial support and services provided to kinship caregivers versus the traditional foster parents. Kudabak found that kinship caregivers are more likely to be older, single, less educated, unemployed, and have lower income than foster parents and non-custodial grandparents. The licensing and certification for kinship caregivers continues to be a contentious issue among stakeholders. The stakeholders are the caregivers, child welfare, professionals, and policymakers. The licensing and certification part, many kinship caregivers faces challenges due to the process. The process alone is very difficult, which discourages potential relatives to step in and help. He also found that kinship care families are more likely to receive less training, different services, and financial assistance compared to foster families. Foster families receive more structured support among the child coming from child welfare agencies, which does include training, financial assistance, and access to the social services. Kinship care is completely different. Some kinship care providers may not definitely receive social services, but it also depends on the state in which they live. Compared to foster families, they may most likely not receive the same level of training or support services available. While kinship care is being placed and raised by relatives or close family friends, it is also important for them to receive the right support, assistance, and training. It is important to provide kinship caregivers with abundant support, which includes mental and emotional support. With the proper support, caregivers are less likely to experience burnout. Training is a crucial part while taking on a caregiver role. The training can help equip caregivers with the different skills they need to address different challenges while raising a child due to trauma or loss. More training would benefit both the caregiver and child because the caregiver can provide a nurturing environment while the child feels comfortable in it. This systematic review was able to evaluate the effectiveness of kinship care placement compared to foster care placement when it comes to safety, permanency, and well-being of children who have been removed from their home